I went on to study Tudor Stuart at the advanced levels. And again, it was a very Christian education. It was an interesting and wonderful opportunity, but it was a very Christian education. It didn't have anything to do with Judaism or Jews, or, you know, they didn't appear except in occasional footnote. Not surprisingly, but that's the way it was. I mean, just like it was I realized at the time, so by this time we're getting into the 60s, it was a very male education. Not only of men, but it was about men. You only read about men. I didn't read about women intellectuals of that period until I was teaching here, teaching at Hampshire, and we were giving courses. I mean, this is the time when the historiography and the history of women's activity was being published. But we were one of the early people to publish it. And Panina and I wrote a book about women professionals in America in the late 19th and early 20th century. And that was the first time anybody had written about the professionalization of women. I mean, one of the early books on the professionalization of women and why that was different and what kinds of problems they had and so forth. This is part of the feminist revolution. And, but again, I had to learn about the history of women. And I realized in that process that what I had been educated to understand was that history was about men and about men's activities. And that's the way it was written until the women's liberation movement. And the feminist historians began to include the other half of civilization in the discussion of history.